Hello, my name is James McLaughlin, editor in Car Design News, and I'm here in the studio, well, the CDN Christmas Grotto, I should rebrand it, with my trusty assistants, colleagues, and like to say friends.
Well, don't go too far, James.
Freddie Holmes, deputy editor of Car Design News, and Lucy Abbott, assistant editor of Car Design News. And welcome to this end of year broadcast, where we're going to look at some of the things that's happened over the years, recount our best memories, and generally sort of take stock, I guess. We're fresh off the back of the People Awards, which was an all-singing, all-dancing extravaganza in London at Old Billingsgate.
Year 4 now.
Fourth year, new venue on the banks of the Thames, which was incredible. Generally, I think quite good, guys. I mean, I don't want to.
That's what I said in the papers.
Yes,
anyway. Definitely quite good.
British understatement, perhaps, but yeah, it was 440 designers in the room. Some winners, some losers, but takes. Remember, I mean, do you remember it? I hope you do.
I was sat fairly close to the front, just ahead of the Bentley table, and it was loud. It was loud in a good way, but it was.
Well, the Bentley came out kind of. I think they claimed 3 trophies in the end, but they came down in force. No one had tipped them off, I have to say.
Stormed the stage.
Yeah, they stormed the stage, which rather gave the impression that they had much bigger teams than they actually do. Because if you looked at everyone on the stage, you think, wow, that's a huge CMF team, but there's only about 3 of them. Lucy, first time for you.
Yes.
Baptism of, well, I hope not fire.
No, not fire is probably too extreme.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was actually really a great atmosphere to be around, and especially at the beginning with the students. The sketch battle was really cool to witness, how they all had different styles. Don't know if you saw one of the students had post-it notes that he was doing his on, and he was sticking them on individually, sort of collage style, but I thought that was great.
That's an interesting technique. I've not seen that technique. I mean, we should sort of hats off to Simon Loseby and Hyundai, the team at Hyundai, and Peter Schreier, because they're the driving force behind the sketch battle. But it was wonderful to see in a world of digital tools, technology, and now AI, that these skills are still valued. And it's something we'll continue to champion. Yes, Bentley got increasingly rowdy as the night went on. We did do some interviews on the night, Freddie, but it's fair to say logistics were somewhat challenging, given the stage build, saxophonists warming up. But we did get a word with Eduardo, who was representing Marc Deschamps for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes, and he gave a very moving speech collecting on behalf of Marc, who couldn't make it back in Turin. And I feel like we really did that justice by interviewing him in the back of a cloakroom, surrounded by boxes.
Yeah,
it wasn't ideal, but it was the best spot we could find based on how loud it was everywhere else.
Yeah, no, it was quite fun. I mean, it's just the glamour of car design.
It was a first for me, I would say. Yeah.
We sold some books, which was nice. We had the car design review. We'll probably talk about it a bit later, but we had the car design review on display. Sold a few of those, guys. Discounted price on the night, of course, but
I believe we hit double figures as well.
It's obviously it's a very limited run, but it is our premium product. But it was lovely to see people engaging with that. We didn't sell them before the awards ceremony, because obviously it would have given away some of the winners. So I know that there are some
people were trying to break in and through the glass to find out, weren't they? There
was one particular PR who I will not name, who was trying to rifle through the pages to see if her team had won the thing. I just hats off to her for being a serious brand advocate.
Applaud the effort.
Yeah.
And speaking of awards, we won an award for the awards earlier this year, which is a bit meta. It's around here somewhere. I think it might be behind or being used as, it's just on the top of the Vogue book. I have to say, that if you can model that. So that was, however, sort of existentially challenging. That is the award we won for the People Awards, which was gratifying for the team, because there's a huge amount of work that goes into it behind the scenes in terms of operations. But it did beg the question. The award ceremony itself for the award was very good, perhaps worthy of an award itself.
An awards show for an awards show that hands out awards for awards shows.
Makes perfect sense. If we've got any sponsors out there that might want to get involved in that, we'll see. moving on, aside from the raddiness of Bentley,
I will
and the
say
people who
before
also-
we go, I think everyone else needs to get on their level. I think everyone needs to ramp up.
I completely
Yeah.
endorse that.
Yeah, it's a new bar.
One of the designers, and again, I won't name them, came over at the end and said, "Great show, lovely, really enjoyed it," and then handed me a hip flask. I thought, this is the sort of spirit that we need to encourage.
Literally.
Yeah,
Was
literally.
literal spirits in a hip flask. It wasn't branded, but maybe that's something they could look into. I mean, they do the lifestyle stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
2025, it was an interesting year. I would say that every year is an interesting year, but it does feel like it's still quite turbulent out there. Lucy,
Yes. First year.
first year in car design.
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting year, that's for sure. I think my first event that I went to was the Renault 5 Turbo 3E, which was I would say that's quite a good one to
Yeah,
start
I'd
and
say.
throw
We
you
were
in on
we were
it.
quite jealous that you went on that, actually.
I know,
So,
I could
but
tell
yeah,
all the messages, you
yeah.
know. But
good merch that came back as well.
yeah, Renault, good match for Renault. But no, that was very, very impressive. I also like how dramatic the reveals are at car reveals.
Because you've come to us from the cruise ship industry,
Yes.
which is a growing industry, but perhaps not
Yes.
quite as glamorous.
I'd say the same level of champagne, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and same level of kind of excitement.
Mhm.
Less water.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, you'd hope so. Unless we
But yeah, definitely a lot more intricate, I'd say, and people are a lot more passionate about the product. I think speaking to designers is a level of passion that I've kind of never experienced before. I mean, they can talk for hours about every single detail. So yeah, that was
and
the
strangely,
highlight.
and always compelling. I think I agree with you. I never tire of talking to designers because they are inspirational in the sense that they care so much. I guess someone has to. Freddie, you went to see. I mean, you've been all over the place this year, but most recently back from Citroen.
Yeah, for the well, I called it the ELO. Concept,
Electric Light Orchestra.
Exactly, yeah. and the car was revealed to Mr. Blue Sky. So I thought ELO, but no, Pierre Leclerc comes over and says it's the LO.
I bet he sent it in that really lovely sort of Belgian French accent.
Exactly, yeah. It was very, very suave. No, that was an interesting looking thing in pictures. We obviously get the pictures a few days ahead of the launch, so we can get to grips with it. In the metal, it's very different. It doesn't look quite as quirky. It almost looks cool, I would say.
Interesting.
But yeah, Pierre Leclerc was there. He was dragged from pillar to post, bless him, all day.
Yeah.
For interviews. It was a bit of a
chaotic
one.
Infinitely patient. Oh, I guess. I mean, Citroen are doing really interesting stuff. I kind of started a few years ago when they swept the board at the People Awards with the Citroen Ollie team. You know, the material exploration, form exploration. Is this continuing on a similar vein, would you say?
It's been on a good run, isn't it? I mean, you had the AMI 1 concept 2019. That then became the AMI production car. And to be honest, I was hoping we'd see the same trend with the Ollie. The Ollie becomes a production version a few years later. Maybe a little bit too outlandish for that to happen. I think the ELO or the LO it felt quite close to a real car.
Plausible.
Yeah.
Feasible.
Feasible is a good word.
Yeah. Sticking with French brands, actually, well, now a French brand, originally a Romanian brand, but Dacia. You were a big fan of that, Lucy, the work they've been doing recently.
Compact car. The two main sort of designers drove it in to around the kind of crowd. That shows you how small it was because it was not a big room that we were in.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very massive fan of that.
This is the hipster, right?
This is the hipster.
Yeah.
But yeah, the seats were amazing. They were kind of modelled off of desk chair seats, something that we sit in, you know, 8 hours a day or however long you work for, and really comfortable, sort of molds to your back, and it kind of makes you think probably don't need all of these layers of fancy fabric and massages and everything like that. You could just strip it back to the basics and it does the job.
Well,
for me, yeah. I mean, it's a city car, so you wouldn't. You're not designed to be in it for very long.
And student shows, you've been doing a bit of our student show coverage.
Yes.
As alongside Freddie, actually, because Freddie is another student show coverage man. What do you think of some of the work coming out because this is where you see the real avant-garde, this is the real outlandish ideas.
Agreed. I mean, we had an autonomous hearse this year. That was very outlandish, but also very cool. I mean, I was a massive fan of that. But in general, a lot of autonomous cars, a lot of city cars, a lot of shared vehicles, kind of more wear and tear, like something you can imagine on the streets of Berlin or Amsterdam. Very cool, very like graffiti style kind of design language. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about?
I feel like there's two schools of thought. You've got the proper cars, let's say, and then sort of, I don't know what you'd even call them, sort of new typologies. We had one called the Apple Motion, which is one of those ones where you lie on your back and you sort of pedal.
Oh, I see. Like, yeah. Often see those.
But then it can also flip up vertically.
Right.
So you're sort of like an obelisk, just roaming around.
It's all Hannibal Lecter style.
Right. And then the pod opens up and it can walk behind you, or sort of float behind you like a spectre.
How funny.
Yeah. So I don't know how feasible that is, but
I quite like the idea of my vehicle following me around. I mean, it's slightly creepy as well, but I quite like this idea of
especially if it's just a sort of glass orb.
Yeah, it needs to look friendly.
Yeah,
put like a smiley face on it or something.
I think this is an interesting, because designers do all argue about this. Should technology be should we imbue it with like these human features or this kind of anthropomorphized look, or do you get no, it's just technology, let's keep it as a tool?
I think you should have a face on it.
I
think
agree.
it needs a face.
Some googly eyes, perhaps.
Googly eyes,
yeah.
On spring.
Well, so what did you think of the year, James?
No one cares.
No one cares. Yeah, well, I have to say there were a few moments. We'll get into some of the macro trends and later on, but there were a few trips that I went on that were really, really special. The main one come to mind was celebrating 50 years of Audi design at a Frank Gehry designed hotel down in Spain. Absolutely incredible event. Lovely to talk to Gary Telak, who's been at Audi since forever. He arrived just as they were taking the covers off the Audi TT, and is completely obsessed with that design and Audi design itself. He was sketching the rear three quarters all evening, while with infinite patience. But lovely to shine a spotlight on someone who doesn't always, get the plaudits, always in the limelight. He did a lovely video interview down there with me in that spectacular setting. The other thing that happened during the event was we cordoned off. Well, not even cordoned off. The Audi PR team had reserved a bit of the winery and the restaurant for this event.
It was an anniversary for Audi. So
50 years of Audi design.
Audi.
Yes, this is an Audi event, and who should turn up but a couple of tourists in a 1950s Mercedes Gullwing and just crash the party by accident.
And someone went over to have a look, didn't they?
Well, we were all having a look, quite frankly, because they were beautiful machines. It was amazing to see them on the end. But what are the odds? These cars are super rare.
I think we've got an image of this now.
Yeah, no, show the image. Gavin Ward trying to usher Mercedes-Benz Gullwing. There we go. There's two of them.
Enemy territory.
Yeah, enemy territory. Shortly after this, Gavin had got them to do a 3-point turn and to sort of quietly move away. But they almost went out to a small round of applause, because it's lovely to see those machines on the road. Sticking with Audi, I guess we're going to talk about Audi a lot, I'm afraid. But I got to drive one of my childhood icons on that trip, a 1983 Quattro, which was just magnificent. And that era of big, brutal Teutonic design, I mean, hugely influential on my life. We'll talk about affordable coupes a bit later. Not to say the Quattro was affordable, but it did bring a sort of a glamour to a kind of a market that was surfing off the back of the Group B rally and that. So it's a very emotive object.
I think similar to maybe the first gen NSX, it was described as the people's supercar, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, the Honda.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And this is
this was the people's rally car.
Yeah, 5-cylinder Burble, glorious. I mean, I can't claim to driven it in the way it probably should have been, but I was just enjoying the fact that I was in it, to be honest. Audi, I mean, we know they've had an incredible launch of Concept C. It won the Car Design Review, Concept Car Design of the Year, which is amply covered in this book. No surprises, guys, do you think?
No, not surprised. I'd be surprised if anything else won, to be honest, except for the Concept C. I feel like the sheer reaction from the public and professionals alike.
Can we get an image of the Concept C? I was at the launch in Milan, and we'll talk about the rear and the kind of covered rear a bit later, but I probably shouldn't have taken that shot, but I did. I sneaked it, and a couple of others. Sorry to the Audi PR team. And you did actually catch up with Massimo at the People Awards. We can roll the clip, but just to say before it goes, you were battling with a saxophonist.
Yeah, fans of muffled jazz. Will enjoy this.
Should tune in now, I guess.
Think,
But let's roll the Massimo Frescella clip.
25 has been, I would say, a pivotal year for us. We have great memories, quite recent as well. First, really sharing within our business our new design philosophy, and then sharing with the world our new philosophy and where we're heading as a brand from a business point of view and from a design point of view. The Milan event, the Munich, the IAA, and how everything is coming together from a visual sensitivity, a design philosophy, from the vehicle, from the manifestation of the brand, its values. And then let's not forget also the Formula One, which it was very important for us, how we connected the design side of things to the more entertaining and business side of things of Formula One. This huge opportunity for us in terms of brand performance and opening up to a whole new community, and how we link these two elements together. So it's been a very rich and intense year for us.
Massimo there. I mean, they did it in record time. It was, I think he's only been in the building about a year. They started work immediately.
It's not a bad first launch, is it? Really? I mean, it's the first public thing you've worked on, and it's just won the award. Importantly, not by us; it's by the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So he got quite emotional actually before we sat down next to the jazz band. So I think he's thrilled with that. But we also mentioned Formula One. I mean, that's another huge thing to be sort of launched into. You wouldn't have had that with JLR.
No. I think what was amazing for me was the execution of it. I mean, the shut lines almost like a piece of graphic design. It was so precise and an underrated interior. I don't know if you've seen the interior, Lucy, but it's kind of like a piece of architecture.
Yeah, only pictures, but I feel like in person would be a whole other experience to get all of the angles of it, because it's such a gorgeous piece of design.
It really is.
Architectural.
Architectural, definitely. And certainly, I mean, this is the second time Massimo's won a Car Design Review Award. And as you say, Car Design News is neutral in all this. It's his peers that have voted for this, but he won it for the Range Rover 5. I feel like he's extending this very clean, minimalist architectural language that he built at Range Rover under Jerry McGovern, more Jerry later, but, to Audi. But it feels like a reset for the brand that was probably needed.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really exciting actually to see such a change in direction for Audi.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they've reset, because it was getting increasingly frenetic, the design, aggressive looking things. I mean, it almost feels like they're going back to first principles, which I suppose is what brands need to remember in this moment of intense competition from new brands.
Ahead of the People Awards, I had the A6 hybrids, e-hybrid on test, and I mentioned this to Massimo as we were getting ready, putting our mics on for the interview. And he goes, "Oh, do you like it?" I said, "Not really. It's a bit like driving in a lava lamp. There's just too many lights." And we'll probably get onto this on
lighting design, later on.
But yeah, interested to see how that interior evolves.
I mentioned Jerry there, and that was a big
Oh,
news.
right.
All ever so confusing messages coming out of JLR, because the story was broken not by us. I have to fess up and say we didn't break the story about Jerry supposedly leaving JLR, but now a statement's come out from Jaguar Land Rover saying no, he hasn't left. We're not contributing to speculation. It did lend us one of our best pun headlines in years. Jerry canned. But yeah, that's big news. I mean, I suppose tangentially linked to Massimo's kind of new work at Audi, but we will get into Jerry's not so much the circumstances, but what the reaction, I guess, of the industry in his not departure. But there was a lot of people news that seemed to dominate our most read stories, I think.
Jeremy offer right up there. That was surprising. That kind of came out of nowhere in a way, but then you think it was quite an unconventional hire for a head of design.
It was a risk. Let's face it, it was a risk.
Car brand.
Yeah.
So what do you think that says about this idea of everything's changing? The car's changing so much. We need to get new visions.
Yeah, it's difficult, and I think worth unpacking. We'll bring on Guy Bird a bit later but it definitely, the vibe shift was a few years ago. Was the car's no longer a car anymore. It's like software. It's a product, and I think a few OEMs went down that route. I mean, most notably Volvo, I guess, in terms of a mainstream brand, not a startup. Mainstream brand under Jim Rohn coming in and then brought in Jeremy. But Jeremy's now gone, and maybe it's a kind of slightly, I don't know, too bold to probably call it a failed experiment, but the vibes were, everything's changing, so let's get a new guy in who's not a car guy. Actually, it's a bit of a turbulent time in Gothenburg at the moment, not just Volvo, but there was job losses there are ongoing job losses, I think, at Zeekr and Lincoln Co.
Yeah, it's always a shame to hear about that, isn't it? Especially when the design teams are so passionate about their product, just to sort of be gone. What happens to all of these projects and everything? It just makes you worry about the state of the industry. Definitely.
It's not all roses out there. Let's put it that way. And there's a lot of talent on the market, I guess. And lots of people sort of maybe kind of slightly worried. Hopefully next year will bring better times. Actually, one of the surprise stories that was, I shouldn't do Kamal Kurik a disservice, but he was with moving to the United States. He was Lincoln's design director, but initially had gone over to Ford to work on the 6th generation Mustang, which is maybe why people were so interested in his return to the Ford performance brand. I don't know, thoughts on that?
Yeah, we didn't expect to see that as one of the highest read stories of the year, but it was. So he's clearly a very popular guy, and I can see why he was on stage with us in Detroit.
Yes.
And it was just constantly, almost talking to the crowd as much as he was me, because he had so many.
Was he just bored of what you were saying?
He was bored of me mostly, and who can blame him? But he clearly gets on well with his team, and he's
very charismatic.
Yeah,
I feel. I don't know if you've met him, Lucy, but
no.
You will. Don't worry. You'll be in Detroit. He's one of these guys who is so passionate, and obviously coming from Eastern Europe had come over to sort of work on the Ford Mustang, which he very quickly identified as not just a muscle car, more than that, a pony car, muscle car, but he saw the romance in that form language and made a very, very nice iteration for the 6th generation. So he's back. He seems to inspire huge loyalty amongst his team, very much like me.
Yeah.
Sorry, you completely blanked me there.
Sorry. I'll be more on it next time.
We were just in awe, weren't we?
Yeah.
To the man in full flow.
But more job news, I guess. There was some bouncing around Renault to Stellantis and back again. But Gilles Vidal,
Gilles squared.
Gilles squared. That took us. I think we were all napping on that one.
Yeah. So he's working under Ralph Gilles now, and Alexandre Malval. I believe,
yeah, that's right.
Into Renault. So
Gilles squared. I have to put that to Ralph next time I see him.
Yeah, don't attribute it to me, but.
Oh no, it's too late for that.
Okay. Ralph, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
Felix Gilbertus. I mean, this is the job that no one seems to stick around in, but it is the head of design at Pininfarina, Kevin Rice.
He was there for 2 years.
Yeah, he was now Felix. Felix, I don't know what Felix is doing, but he's a very thoughtful and interesting designer. So hopefully he'll pop up again soon. But yeah, this seems to be a difficult one to fill.
Fresh start coming in 2026, maybe.
There was other sort of moves that are quite interesting in a sense, where you've got GM returning to Europe with their advanced studio, and one of the key members there was Dominic Najafi, but he's gone stateside, which I think he's tremendously excited about. A sort of diffident, thoughtful man, and he's back. He's in the land of hope and dreams.
Yeah, it seems like a brand that might be. I don't know if on the up is the right way of putting it, but
certainly. I mean, it's got some energy behind it, I guess.
Yeah. We asked Julian Thompson about this, and he said that he's lost a good one in
yes.
Dominic, so he's kind of his right-hand man over in Leamington Spa.
I think Dominic was his first hire, actually, when Julian got the task of setting up the studio. I think Dominic was the first person to go. I could be wrong on that, but I believe. And they assembled a really lovely team out there. You can sense the atmosphere. They did win the modelling award, Clay Modelling Award at the People Awards. I did see a comment from Joanna said, "I think we should have won more," but I think that's just competitive spirit coming in, which we love to see. Other moves, Philip Rommers to Polestar.
Yeah, we visited in January and sort of had an off the record chat with him just to see how he feels settling in. I think he's maybe a few months into the job.
Stumbled across Sid
Adedra, from Audi. That was a surprise one.
He was head of UX at Audi,
yes,
and the Mark Lichter,
but
had quietly moved on without telling them.
Yeah, so that was a nice surprise. But it would be interesting to see how that brand continues now with Max moving to BMW. I'm sure it's going to continue doing great stuff. But yeah, it'll be one to watch, I think, once we see Philip's first sort of project that he's led.
Exactly. Sort of break out with his own, his interpretation, his stamp, which we know takes a bit of time. Lucy, we've banded around a few names there. Some of them you will probably recognise, some of them you may not. But are you surprised the amount of churn? I know churn maybe is overstating it, but there is a lot of kind of.
There's a lot of
musical chairs.
Poaching, or maybe kind of like people deciding actually I like what they're doing, I'm going, and that kind of thing. But there is a lot more than I would expect, and it also seems to be just very accepted.
Yes,
it's not kind of like. I mean, maybe some people are more kind of loyal in a way than others, or it's kind of like people just kind of like to dip around into different brands and see what really suits them and their creative direction. It's
interesting, isn't it? Because you do wonder whether some of the element is like they just want to do something and then they want the next challenge. Or I remember talking to Aurelien Dozy at Tata, and he's like a loyal man. He likes to stick to a brand and build something there, so I guess it's kind of horses for courses.
It's funny you say, because I hadn't really thought about that, but you're right. It really does chop and change a lot. I think we just get used to it, don't we?
Yes, it's great for us because we're constantly sort of reporting on news, and people, I have to say, it's a small community, car design, really, in the grand scheme of the auto industry. And people like to gossip and they like to see who's doing what. It's a bit curtain twitchy, which I think is great.
We need to get the Daily Mail sidebar of shame going, I think.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Okay, well, the other person we caught up with at the People Awards was Klaus Sikoros, who was former head of Volkswagen Group Design. and is now head of global design for Chinese brand Chang'an. And he's gone all in. He's moved out to China in Chongqing. He's there. The guys from Chang'an were on the site with a car, and I spoke to Klaus not only about the car, but what he views the future might look like. Can we roll that clip just to hear from Klaus?
Highlights or the misses that the industry has made?
From my point of view, we do look at very turbulent times. China most definitely at the forefront. The path to the future is clear. It'll be electric. And next year we will see the first solid-state batteries going into mass production. The range of battery electric vehicles will substantially go up. Autonomous driving will come to life more and more. We see that all over the place. So the way forward is clear.
And I'm looking at Guy Bird, who is a future-looking man, perhaps. I like to describe you as the fifth Beatle, although there is only 3 in the CDN team, so it doesn't work. But you know what I mean. Contributing editor, roving reporter, editor of Car Design Review 12. Guy, welcome to the Car Design News End of Year podcast. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, James. Thank you.
Immediate reaction to the future of being electric. I don't know what you think of that. I mean, it's a bold statement. I suppose Klaus is going to say that because he has custodian of an electric brand. But thoughts?
I think it depends when you define the future. Obviously, it's like, now onwards, right? But I think Lawrence van den Akker was interesting in the book this year. He said, if you ask me what's going to happen in 10 years, it's going to be electric, no question. But what's going to happen next year, I have no idea. He's referring to, political rumblings and big changes around the world which affect tariffs and decision making on where to make stuff and what to make.
So it's almost a question that it does sort of fall outside the realm of design to some extent. I mean, but electrification has been a massive opportunity, particularly for interior car designers over the last few years. But it does seem to be slowing up now, or the appetite for it is slowing up.
Well, I think I saw an interesting graph about this, and
oh my god, a graph!
Well,
I love a graph.
You just have to picture it.
Yes.
So basically,
Okay.
in very simple terms, there's an early adoption spike, and then there's a very steep downward curve, and then it gently goes up again.
It's the hype cycle, isn't it? Is it the hype cycle?
I'm not sure. It's got an economic name. I forget.
I like hype cycle. Let's keep that.
But basically, in simple terms, the early adopters have adopted.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are unsure are still unsure and possibly can't afford electrification right now, or it doesn't suit them, or the charging is not quite right. So I think there's a little pause where it's known technically as the trough of despair. And I think
trough of despair.
And I think we're sort of maybe just bottoming out of the trough of despair. And as ranges increase, charging infrastructure increases, I think more people will get on board, and also prices and things that just suit people's lives. When you get a random call somewhere outside of your workplace saying, "Hey, what do you think of the Renault 5?" and you go, "It's great. Oh, my father-in-law wants to get one and he's really excited." So that's what good designers do. They make people excited and want to desire things. And then, it doesn't really matter what the powertrain is. They buy into the whole package.
Exactly. No, I think that's it. That emotional connection to the product. I suppose alongside the electrification, the rise of electrification, there has been this idea, and Freddie and Lucy and I touched on it earlier, is that the role of designer is changing. And we saw some interesting or quite risky hires. I think the one that comes to bold maybe is a better word than risky, but Jeremy Offer going as an industrial designer, a product designer, going over to head up Volvo Design, and has since left to move on to pastures new. But there was a hell of a lot of noise about everything's changing. But my sense was it's been overplayed somewhat, because cars are still. They still have 4 wheels. They still have lots of parameters to design within, and they're still like chunks of 1.5, 2 tons of metal. It's not an iPhone. It's not a kind of kettle. It's a very particular slice of design.
No, absolutely. I think the thing with car design is it's become a little bit unfashionable, perhaps for a little while, because people were so wrapped up in, you know, mobile phones or other things that seemed a bit more glitzy and would get more column inches at a show like CES, perhaps. And some of the car makers used to go along there and try and tuck in and feel cool too, and then, you know, didn't really get the traction they wanted. I think that's changing a little bit. I think people are realizing that, you know what, people still need to move, they need to get about, and they need to enjoy that process. And, you know, product design is, you know, a wide discipline, and car design encapsulates almost all of it. You know, it's chairs, it's UX, it's screens, it's door handles,
ergonomics,
it's user experience, massively important. All those things, and also crash safety. You know, which are things that most products don't have to deal with. As Sebastian Conrad famously once quipped, you know, I've never had to crash test a sofa, and you know, you know, there's a lot more to it, you know, and or even, you know, pedestrian impact regulations that affect where the bonnet height is, and you know, so people go, oh, why do cars all look the same? Well, they don't. Like, all suits don't look the same. There's nuance, and there's lots of reasons and factors. Like there is in aviation design as well. There's all kinds of things, and I think once you understand that, then it's amazing when stuff does cut through, actually, you know, and people talk about it in a wider setting than just, you know, where we are now.
What about just naming some of the things that you thought cut through this year? Have you got anything that leaps to mind?
Well, I mean, the tail end, obviously, last year, you know, the Type 00, Jaguar was one that, you know, made Radio 4 in Britain, which is kind of a big deal, part of the BBC. So that's sort of mad. And it doesn't happen that often. And there's not really anything in 2025 that's done that, I don't think. Actually,
could we get a picture of the Type 00 up on the screen? Because it's probably... No, that's the Bentley. There we are, perfectly. That's Mark Smythe, who was at the launch for Car Design News. But there it is, that Type 00 tail end of last year. But, you know, it did, like you say, it made the most influential broadcast show in the country.
Yeah. It must be the biggest car design story of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically December and November, but in terms of our 12 months of looking, you know, we're in within the last 12 months.
Really, it's tailed off ever so slightly, but I think there's a new red.
Just saw a red version. Yeah.
People are still angry or happy or.
I have to say,
probably warming to the idea and just realizing it's more the advert.
I think the marketing was a misstep. It was very peculiar. I heard even fashion bloggers saying the fashion was terrible on the models that were used in the marketing, let alone.
So if you've
so, you know, on every level, everyone's had a go or had an opinion, which kind of, I guess, is interesting. But the no news, bad news thing, I think it was more bad news than no news.
But what do you think of the times of the car? Because we're going to talk about macro trends. We'll get onto it now, but it was these big uninterrupted surfaces, quite brutal looking thing. I sort of in the rear haunches, I detected elements of the XJS flying buttresses from where there were nods to the long bonnets. There was nods to all sorts of stuff in there. But I actually, when I first saw it in the metal, I warmed to it in a way that I didn't think I would when it came to pictures. But what do you think of it?
Well, that's the important thing, isn't it? You saw it in the metal.
Yeah.
And that's when you truly get a sense of how the design sits on the road and the world around it. It made a statement like every good concept car should do, I think. And if you upset no one, you probably haven't gone far enough. Right? It's probably a bit too
vanilla, too safe, perhaps.
So like I said, I think it was more the marketing campaign around it that was the issue.
It certainly annoyed me, but
What did you think?
Well, the thing is, the marketing campaign came before, which didn't help. I think. So everyone was just all going interstellar angry about that.
You get people offside before you've even looked.
No, exactly. Yeah. So then they're kind of they're not looking at what you've just wheeled out. I think one of the things, I don't know, I didn't see it in the end. I was busy finishing the last book, so I blew out the preview, which I didn't want to do, but I was too busy. Anyway, so I saw it eventually properly at Goodwood.
I saw it at Goodwood. That's right.
And the one thing I thought, I mean, it does look, it looks kind of amazing, but it also looks slightly unreal still. There's something
kind of video gamey, kind of graphic about
like
it.
It's almost like it's been projected, and I don't know how that'll be when it really is. I mean, we've seen footage of it on the road here and there with a few actors kind of jumping out from it, but I don't know whether it's shut lines or something about the paint color or something, or the various paint colors, but it still feels slightly unreal.
Well, it has very few shut lines, was what I noticed. When you look at it, it's like, have they got themselves a gigapress or something like that? But I had to say, it leads us on to talking about the exit or not exit of Jerry McGovern, because it was very much him overseeing that. I know a lot of the design is attributed to Massimo, but I mean, Jerry sort of supposedly escorted out the building, but now there's a statement come out of JLR saying, "Oh no, he hasn't left, but we're not going to speculate. He hasn't officially left," I think is the wording, which is quite cunning wording.
I mean, actually, I did get in contact with the PRs this morning at JLR just to kind of check, because it is a sort of an ongoing thing, and it says it is untrue that we have terminated Jerry McGovern's employment, and we do not intend to further comment on speculative stories. It is not on record that he has left the business. So anything along those lines is speculation. So I did ask the follow-up question in Columbo style, but
there's just one more thing. Sorry,
I didn't get any more. So I said, is he technically still in post? Perhaps suspended pending an internal review, and there was no more Jen on or off the record, I'm afraid. Something's gone on, because if you're a PR, you need to squash these things, and clearly they're unable to squash it because it's director level. And it's actually, they just don't know, I think, or they don't know, can't say. So there's a Christmas break. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We'll keep following it.
But what is it? I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But I mean, the Type 00, do they continue on this? Because they were talking about being all electric brand, and I can't see that is in tune with the zeitgeist. I mean, we looked at some of the other brands that are now backing off from electric, and it
may still be true, like you say. When is the future? It may still be true, just not as soon as maybe initially was
I mean, the other thing, I mean, you're spot on, and the thing is, what is forgotten very early on, actually, maybe this is pre-COVID, car brands were talking about going electric. Volvo was one of them, and was a bit cute about how it described, electrifying, which included hybrids and plug-ins, and then mainstream press
the future's electric,
said the future is electric, and full electric, which it wasn't quite. And Volvo, have rolled back on that. Lotus have rolled back on that. Loads of Stellantis brands that, the Fiat 500 was going to be all electric. Now it's not.
Well, the latest is Ford. Yesterday, just killed off the F-150 Lightning. Gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing
unplugged it, as they say.
No, indeed.
Which I found quite shocking.
But I mean, what people forget is that to prepare for the future, you need to make money in the present. And the reality is that this is why we have these dual platforms, or platforms that can cope with any powertrain. So, the revenue that's raised by selling a hybrid or a plug-in today will help.
Will fund the electrification.
The full electric
yes, exactly,
cars of the future that will be more credible when everyone else is ready, after the trough of despair has dissipated. Or
trough of despair is now going to be my go-to phrase when it comes to that. In terms of design trends, though, we talked a lot about I know the Type 00 came in at the end of December, but it seems to have been, there's been another few big surface, quite brutal things. Bentley EXP 15 being one of them, the Audi Concept C. There seems to be this kind of design language that's emerging at the moment. How long it sticks around for, because these are concepts, but of quite architectural forms. What do you think that's driving that, Guy? Actually, throw that open to all of you to chip in. But
I'll give it a little start out. I mean, I think we looked at it, and journalists, you kind of look at a trend, and if there's more than two, it's a trend, right?
Yeah,
and
rule of threes, as they say.
So I mean, Type 00, Audi Concept C, Polestar 4, Polestar 5. Avatar 12 as well. They've all have this very encased, deeply metal rear, which kind of harks back to two-seater or single-seater sports cars of the 30s. Auto Union, which obviously where it's getting its references, but also this idea that it's something kind of safe, and suggests rear or mid to rear engine layout as well in certain situations. But what's interesting about some of the more family-friendly ones, like the Polestar 4, is actually for 4 or 5 seats, and this cocooning idea, and then you lose the glass at the back, you gain more metal. It kind of looks a bit more spaceship, which I'm nailed on for.
Yeah.
And then you just have to deal with the rear view cams, which is technology enabled, which used to be illegal, was used for loads of concepts, and now is thoroughly legal. The XL1 VW and small scale brought it to bear, and we covered it in the book. And I've dubbed it Fuller Metal Jacket.
I quite like this Fuller Metal jacket,
because that's kind of what it is. A little jacket. It's kind of trying to be cocooning. Obviously, Full Metal Jacket and the Vietnam film has some negative connotations, but regardless, I think it's a trend. I think it's going to happen, and it's been eventually technology enabled. Like all good things, often with design, slimmer lights or flush door handles. It's a combination of wanting something and legislation getting around to it, and then the price coming down enough to actually get it to somewhere where any of us could afford it, or some of us could afford it.
I mean, fact check me afterwards, but I'm pretty sure with the Polestar 5, getting rid of the rear window and having the camera system enabled them to push the C-pillar further back.
Certainly did.
Which means you can keep that sort of fast roof line without causing passengers to.
Yeah, if you sit in the back of it, it's a neat trick. You do have you don't have that kind
by doing that. So that's that's a positive. But Lucy, I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. When I saw the Type 00, the Bentley, the Audi, I got sort of nautical vibes. They felt like yachts.
I was going to say yachts, definitely not
surfacing.
kind of big cruise ships, but definitely kind of the sleekness and I guess like the luxury feeling that yachts kind of want to bring along. And I think that's when we should be relying on technology to be able to change design and to be able to lean into that and be like, okay, we've got this technology, now we can, get this more space in this kind of compartment of the car and that sort of thing. So I feel like that's all good stuff, and I'm excited to see more of that next year.
It is interesting, but Guy point is completely right. Like, we think of design, if we don't think of design is downstream of technological innovation, allowing things to be possible. And it does require, so then you do have these moments when a problem or challenge gets solved that allows designers the freedom to do things, basically. And I sometimes I forget about that. I get kind of too emotionally invested in things. Why can't they just do this? Well, obviously there are engineering or technological reasons why not. Guy, just generally 2026, what is your can I ask you for a Christmas wish for 2026, or are you just not in the spirit?
No, I'm in the spirit. The tree's up at home, looking lovely.
Good.
And in many ways, it's a mixture of analog and digital. It's a real tree. There's some LED lights.
Very interesting.
And I think
mixed light bar.
No, it's I think it's eclectic, and I think actually, when there are so many brands vying for our eyeballs and our wallets, you just have to remember, who your customer is and try and engage with it in the full way, not just the product, but the whole experience, the dealership, the app, everything. And car designers know this, but I think just getting it to work. I've talked to someone just recently and they said, why don't we have a brand experience center? Why don't we have someone where we can actually show what our story is about, not just having the product in a dealer showroom, which may or may not get sold effectively. And we can all relate to that, where you make something and you kind of want it to be pushed and promoted too. It's just joining that up. And I think back to the kind of heads of design story, this idea that the heads of design they're good at storytelling, and they just need to be more engaged and have some help from other departments who also see and are respected by them. And sometimes I think there's been this push and pull where sometimes the heads of design are too powerful and they just stamp over everyone else, and other times they don't get any power at all, and the engineers just say make it like that and make it look pretty. There's always it's basically this wax and wane, always has been. And the good designers realize that it's a team sport, and maybe some others don't.
Beautifully put, actually, Guy. Actually, with just moving back a little bit to the Audi concept C, one of the things about it was the finish, the color of the finish, the titanium finish was absolutely incredible. We spoke to another designer at the People Awards, Volvo's Reka Mina, and she was, as you might expect, enthused about color having a bit of a moment. Could we roll that clip, do you think?
I think design is having a good time right now. Everyone is working on a new direction, and I must say for any designer is the business, because you are trying to build a new design direction, and there is a scope for a lot of new innovation. The electrification is there, AI is there, connectivity. You have a lot of interior space because of cars are electric, and there is so much to play inside the car. And same on the exterior, it's really super amazing. 2025 has been an amazing year. We have seen a lot of bold statement by different brands. Color is having a moment. Saw a lot of bold yellow shades, and Volvo also brought 2 new colors, nature inspired. So I would say the trend is moving towards becoming more electrification. People are bringing lighting, is becoming seamlessly integrated part of exterior and interior design. You can communicate through light. That's something really amazing. Yeah, and I feel it's an interesting time for anyone to be in industry, for us and for the new designers who are shaping the future of the car business.
Color is having a moment. I mean, I love color. I have to say, I've got books and books on postmodernist design, which had color everywhere.
I thought you were about to go, well, I've got loads of colours.
Coloring books.
Yeah,
yeah, I borrow them from my children.
No, but I mean, it absolutely is, isn't it? The last week or week before, time is going too quickly and I've lost track of it. With the ELO concept, that was everywhere was orange. Everything was orange aside from the tyres, pretty much. This sort of colour wash interiors right through to the outside, but different finishes. Is a very soft sort of matte finish inside, and then this beautiful, almost sort of pearlescent orange on the outside. Really, really nice. And it's kind of getting away from this idea of having every surface or most interior surfaces that cheap sort of black or anthracite plastic. We kind of moved entirely away from that. I think. Well, certainly on the concept car circuit, let's say.
But I mean, you look at cars from years gone by and all sorts of colors and interiors, exteriors. There was so many different. It does feel like we've slipped over the years into a sort of Scandi, muted tones, minimalism, which is okay. But when everything is like that, it becomes a bit homogenous. You enjoying the sort of burst of color from some of the concepts we're seeing, Lucy?
I think it was interesting about Reka saying that it's kind of nature inspired colors, because I think you can never go wrong and they will naturally kind of look really beautiful next to each other, and then kind of introducing the electrification with that maybe makes people ease into it a bit more.
I see what you mean.
I feel like there's definitely a psychology of color going on there, which I find quite interesting.
Make it feel more organic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they can be quite I mean, we know the issue with EVs can be quite sterile feeling in terms of
the dentist's waiting room sometimes.
Yeah. So you've picked up on something there, Lucy, that I think one of the first Lucid Motors were basically a few years ago when they launched Lucid Air. Very much took inspiration from the landscape of California, where of course they're based, and these earthy tones and this idea that it was anchored in the geography of the car, because of course they were pushing a very, very futuristic product. Although Derek would say it's not a tablet on wheels, it was technology. So I think you've hit on something there, this idea of it's a softening effect or a humanizing effect when it comes to.
I have a feeling this was echoed in our CMF survey as well.
Yes,
some of the respondents thought natural,
earthy tones
will be coming back. So
that's well remembered, actually.
I know.
I'm quite impressed with that. And what about lighting? Like, Lucy, maybe I'll start with you. You know, she mentioned lighting there. What's going to be working a lot harder or doing a lot more?
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying the interior lighting as opposed to the exterior lighting. I think we kind of mentioned before, you get a lot of these big light bars that are just kind of slapped on the front and the back. That
Freddie's big fan of those.
Yeah, I know you're particularly not a fan, but I think the interior lighting, the kind of mood lighting, almost making the interior into this kind of living room space where you can change these modes, you know, night mode, sort of like, or more relaxed driving mode. I think that's quite nice, and I'd like to see more of that next year, definitely.
Also, you've been enjoying the rise of the resto mod. I mean, I think we've all been enjoying the rise of the resto mod, but that's something that you were particularly keen on.
Yeah, I think it's about kind of the emotional connection with the car, like we were speaking about earlier. That kind of really hones on that, where it's kind of got that recognizability factor, but it's also, new, and it's also got the newest technology if that's what you're into. So it kind of plays on both sides, which I think is quite strong. So
we did talk. Well, actually, while we should probably show the picture of the rest more. Can we show the Boreham Motorworks Ford Escort while we're talking about resto mods?
Yeah, this was the work of Wayne Burgess down in up in Coventry.
A real petrol man,
and this
actually,
is, but
a real
importantly, and I
classic
had
designer.
I had my wrist slapped for this. It's not a resto mod.
Right. Okay. What was it?
It's a continue mod. It's a totally different thing. And I'm sounding facetious. It is. It's built from the ground up. They literally built the entire car from scratch. So it's not taking.
So it's not taking any.
Not a donor car.
Not a donor car.
No. It's fully engineered from the ground up. So I did originally sort of raise an eyebrow and go, marketing term, but no, that's a proper thing. What is a resto mod is the Get Lost project, which is a Series 1 Lotus Elise. I think we all absolutely adore that. I would have liked to see it in
Can
yellow.
we show the Get Lost? I thought you were telling me to get lost there.
No, that comes later. This was done by George Williams, who's actually a photographer, and kind of stuck his neck out and tried to do his own car. Who would have thought an off-road Series 1 Elise would appear in 2025? I didn't have that.
I didn't have it on my list, but I mean, perhaps I should have done. I think one of the things, I mean, we touched on it again, so I won't sort of go over old ground, but I think there's a few brands out there, mainstream brands, that are really discovering what they're all about, or rediscovering what they're all about. I guess as we're sort of moving to the end, I mean, it is a festive time of year. We've got, I think, one more clip to show you. Oh, well, actually, having said that, we mentioned technology, and we should probably hear from the production car design of the year, which was won by Polestar. Can we roll the with about tech, with Nahum, who's their head of exterior design?
About just the technological trends that are happening at the moment, the things that you can do with sustainability, you know, I mean, we are, it goes to tell you that we are still quite behind in adapting and, you know, being more sustainable. And I mean, of course, that's going to require a lot of work from the companies to do, but I think, you know, these are some of the things that Polestar is very dear to us. So we will continue to push, and then we will continue to make sure we have, you know, quite sustainable products. So I would say for me, when it comes down to that and the technological breakthroughs, is that's where I, you know, like I said before, in school, I never would have thought that, you know, I was gonna be exposed to this kind of technologies, you know. So for me, it's 2025 has been all about, you know, this sort of breakthroughs with technology and sustainability.
Interesting to hear from Nahum there. One point I would say before we move on, because we are up against the clock now, is this idea of technology leveling the playing field somewhat, which is going to put more pressure on designers to make something new and unique within that. I mean, thoughts on that, Lucy?
I think that there's definitely going to be this pressure to kind of keep innovating, but I think ultimately that's a good thing. I think, you know, what do they say? You can't make a diamond without pressure. Not to be really cringy, but I do think that. But I do think that it's important. You need to be pushed to continue to innovate, and that's how amazing things are made.
And while we're on the subject of the future, let's move on to 2026. Freddie, wish lists for 2026.
Wish lists for 2026. Well, I'd like to chase down the leak in my X5 somewhere, which is causing water in the footwell. But I can see that being a 2027 issue as well.
And beyond, I suspect.
Probably, yeah. So we've mentioned light bars, or I certainly have.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit done with those, to be honest with you.
No more light bars.
No more light bars. Let's go back to lamps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the start we spoke about giving the car a face, and you know, I think it's important to have those defined lamps. For me, you know, it's personal taste. So I'd like to see something new there.
Mhm.
Really. I think it's a bit played out.
I mean, we've talked about the ELO and hipster concept. What about you, Lucy?
I think
I think I know what you're going to say, but anyway, go on.
well, except for resting.
Don't worry, yeah, no.
I'm quite excited about autonomous vehicle design because I think at the moment it's, you know, the exterior, they're quite bulky. They've got these kind of big kind of cameras on the side. But I'm quite excited to see them become more integrated into design and for them to kind of play around a bit more with the interior seating, sort of modular layouts and that kind of thing, and more industry reveals like the Jaguar Type 0, more ones that really shake the industry, divide people. Yeah, I like that.
Something a bit polarizing,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, no, I ditto that. I'd like to see a bit more risk taking. I think we are seeing it in certain brands. When we go back to think who were the first out of the blocks in the mainstream brands to really start shaking things up, you have to go back to Hyundai and the stuff that they started doing, knocking out there with the team with the Ioniq 5. And,
well, I mean, the entire line really is it's become a bit of an industry leader, I would say.
I think it just basically shook things up. They asked the question, why not? And they and then went on to attempt to answer it in various different forms. So hats off to them. So more risk taking. I'd love to see the return of the mid-market coupe. When I went to see Opel to see the new Astra, I met Matthew. Was it Matthew Crawford? I can't remember the name of the designer now. This is quite embarrassing. But anyway, he joined Opel in 1988. Just off the back, they just finished the Calibra, which was quite a pivotal model when I was younger. But it came alongside it was running alongside cars like the Corrado. Can we get the Corrado up? This is my own beauteous affordable mid-market coupe, but perhaps we can't get the VW Corrado up. But this idea that the everyman, a bit of glamour to the everyman, and just something a little bit more accessible. I'd also like a new heater relay for my Jaguar XJS. The C46179 is a part number. It's absolutely impossible to find, and it's driving me nuts. So,
also, is this a request?
This is a pitch, actually. if anyone has got a parts bin with one of the heater relays for 1981 XJS, that would be wonderful. It is Christmas, so let's play our final video clip, which is Carolyn Newton from Cherry,
she's got a lovely message.
She has, yeah, from the festive spirit. So can we play?
I think always the same, and go back to my first thing that I was saying, is that it's all going to be a little bit more holistic, and I just hope that this like merge of East and West will come to a happy conclusion at one point, and not be that fight where kind of the West goes down, the East comes up. I mean, that is anyway somehow happening, but I think there's a lot of things that both sides can profit from each other when they take away all the misunderstandings and things that happen in between, and I think that's a super big chance for everybody, actually.
Is it ever so slightly heartwarming message of peace and harmony, which I think East and West united, no more misunderstandings. I feel like almost breaking out into a John Lennon song, but I won't, because I've got Abel Sampson, or we have Abel Sampson, the final guest, with his, oh my God, he's got an branded mug.
Merchandise is available now.
All good retailers. Actually, one thing we didn't mention, the highlights of the year was the birth of the concept that is Abe Cam. If you've been on Abe Cam or been seen it in action, it's certainly a force to behold. But Abel, you're going to come and tell us what's happening in 2026.
Yeah.
I hope.
Can I just talk about some of my highlights from?
Yes. All right. No, absolutely. It'd be remiss of me not to ask you about.
Yeah.
highlights.
So there was two highlights which I think were really important, which I thought were amazing, which maybe have gone under the radar by a lot of people. Is diversity of our speaker lineup across our events and our awards judging. It's something that we pride ourselves very much. Having Lucy in the team is a good example of what we're trying to push forward to get a different sort of emotion to it. But we've really pushed it this year. It is difficult sometimes, I guess, for Armo and James and Freddie to recruit these guys, because the design leaders want to put the design leaders forward. But it's important that we get a nice spread of people, and we did that with all our events this year. and more importantly for the judging for the People Awards to give a different kind of style. How do you guys feel
Well,
about that?
it's that. So is it you want to be what you can see? Is that the expression? If it isn't,
good.
it
I mean,
be.
if it isn't, it's good expression. But yeah.
My second highlight, and just to sum it up, is the way that we promote our events is very direct and very much a marketing department are very active and out there doing stuff. But where the success really is this year in particular, and in the last week or so with the awards, is how our clients in the industry are amplifying our stuff themselves. This shows that we're doing it right when they do it for us, and it shows that we're actually hitting it perfectly, where our marketing stuff is being bettered by the amplification by general people who are coming to our events, which has got to be the success of real true success of what we're doing.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a nice story actually, seeing that sort of things snowball and take their own life on LinkedIn sometimes. Reports of coming to our events. It does feel nice. It feels like all the effort is
Gives you that warm Christmas fuzzy feeling.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Moving on to 2026. Now we took the bold steps of having a brand new venue for the awards. Man, that was a challenge.
Yeah.
But when we went to see it, James, back in early part of the year, we knew this was the right place to be.
On the Thames, terrace,
fish market.
Well, fish market was also interesting from an architectural point of view, but it did allow for a hell of a lot of puns at the People Awards.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. It was a bold step, but I think it was worth taking that step. And I think, potentially we may go back there.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's nice of me and the team. And I know Lucy mentioned it in the last webinar we did. The 3rd of December is the date, and we will be going back there, which is great. But I just wanted to mention that is a theme we're taking forward into our future events across the design dialogues. We are brave enough and bold enough and confident enough to have 3 new venues for, let's say, for the last calendar year. We have a brand new venue for Milan, Martini Bar, a full day program.
Yeah.
10 sessions.
Yeah.
Speakers are already coming in, and that will be on the 21st of April during the Salone. So if you want any more further details, go to the website. There'll be a little slide at the end. And then it's on to Beijing, literally the same week.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of air miles clocked up.
On the 24th. We have some great news on that front. We don't need any more speakers.
You're full up.
And that will be an event that will take place on the evening of the first press day. So slightly different event, different market, but international, local, global. Everyone who's anyone will be there. So please, 4 Seasons in Beijing is the place to be. And then Detroit.
Yeah,
we're taking the bold steps of moving Detroit forward to September. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better, guys. And also we've got a full day program with, again, 10 sessions, workshops,
new venue,
panel sessions, new venue.
Just about to confirm that.
And I'd like to say that's the confidence we have in our industry, and the confidence we have in Car Design News, that we are willing to say to the industry, we're moving our events forward. They are strategically placed, and the venues will be a true representation of what you should expect from Car Design News for 2026. The final one, and the one that is probably the most exciting one, is the review book 13.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's going to be called a review,
well,
book
I have thought about this. Yeah.
But I know that there is this energy in the industry that we continue doing print with interior motives, and we are committed to that at Car Design News. I know you guys love it. I know that Guy is stupidly.
I love it when we get it right.
And we do every time.
I wish we do every time. You're quite right, Freddie.
And the review book will be the most unbelievable.
I mean, it's an incredible piece of work, and hats off to Guy who edits it. It's an amazing piece, labor of love, I'd say.
And that's my summary, James. I think there are events for 2026. We are excited. We are confident.
There's also a new CMF survey as well. There's going to be loads of live streams and things like that. I wonder if we could just show one final picture to sign off of you and I at the People Awards, Abel and Jen, because I think this really captures our relationship. You in the limelight, me trying to work out what on earth you're talking about.
Yeah,
but it's always a pleasure to work with you, Abel. Yes, absolutely. I'm your number one fan.
It's a balance of we are here to cover the industry with you guys and our editorial journalists around the world. It's important that we're there. It's important we do that without any interference from any commercial activities we do. However, we are a business, we're not a charity. So there's an important element here that we get the balance right. And that mutual respect between us then is reflected in the execution and the confidence of doing new venues or doing more print. And that's what Car Design News has always been about. It's about the balance between what we're trying to do and how we're going to do it. And I think that's the strength of it. And James, I 100% agree. Our relationship is very unique. And
in that we don't talk to each
other only on a Friday. No, but it's very unique. And I think straight after this, what have we planned us straight after?
We've got the CDN Christmas lunch, which has now become a tradition. Lucy, it's going to be your first one.
Yeah,
Strap yourself
I know.
in. It's absolutely no. It's going to be a very lovely end to the year. As you say, the separation of church and state is always at the forefront of Car Design News. But that's it. I think we're done. As if you stuck with us, well done. Thank you so much for coming. We have finished our review, but we are now actually looking forward to 2026. Hope to see as many of you in the person at our events as possible. But for now, have a lovely festive break.